Meghan has mastered it, and she actually knows how to position herself so you see the most of her face as possible. I'm going to show you 3 different video clips, one from the Invictus Games, one in Morocco, and one in Rwanda, where Meghan shows off this exact skill, and we're going to go down a couple of rabbit holes. So stick around, let's watch this one, but before we begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Tiffany, and this is Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. The inspiration for all of this came from this video, so I'm going to play it for you real quick. Here we are. Meghan is at Invictus in 2024. This is around Valentine's Day. But what I want to point out to you is that the sun isn't actually, she's not covering the sun by lifting her hand like that. If you notice, the sun is actually to her right. And when she does put her hand up, it does absolutely nothing to shield her from the sun. And when I saw this, I thought immediately of 2 other times that she has done something similar where she doesn't want to cover her face. She knows exactly where the cameras are, so she makes sure that there's no obstruction. And an example of that is actually when Meghan was in Rwanda. So you can see when she's walking, she's not wearing her sunglasses, even though it's bright out. She's fixing her scarf. She doesn't really care about anybody else that's present. And you'll notice that she is making sure to lift her hair so the camera can catch her profile. Another time she did this is in Morocco. You'll see she's running up to the children. At first she was walking at a leisurely pace, but then when she sees the children, the cameras are there, she walks up to them, and look, she makes sure to move her hair to the other side so that you can get a very clear look of her face. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. These must be tips and tricks that she's picked up along the way. She learned them as early as her 2016 trip to Rwanda, and it's not really a surprise based on what we know about her character. Now let's go back to that Invictus trip. I found this picture, and I actually believe this picture is from Invictus 2025. I've looked everywhere for the accompanying video clip and I couldn't find it. If any of you know where to find it, please drop it in the comments. But the reason this stands out to me is for 2 reasons. The first is, look at Meghan's hands. She has the double hand clutch on him, but the man is not paying attention to her. He's angled towards Harry, and you can see that Meghan is giving him the narcissistic stare, which is something that we've talked about in a video series. I actually have one more video I need to record for that one. I haven't had a chance to record it yet, but I'll link the playlist in the description of this video. So you can see she is staring at him, and in my opinion, she does this because she wants to interrupt the conversation with her eyes so that focus comes back on Meghan. And then while looking up more footage of this appearance in February of 2024, I came across this picture. Why is Meghan touching that cameraman? Is she trying to move him out of the way? I don't get it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And here is a zoomed in version of that. I wanted to look into a little bit of what people were saying and what articles were saying during the February 2024 visit to Canada, and I found this article, and it's titled "Prince Harry and Meghan Markle Spend Valentine's Day on Slopes to Launch 2025 Invictus Games." This was published on Valentine's Day in February 2024. The Sussexes flew into Canada by private jet Tuesday to join competitors at a winter training camp. Stop flying by private jet. Everywhere they go, it's private jet. There's nothing that makes me more angry than a hypocrite, someone that thinks that the rules don't apply to them, but that they apply to everybody else. I've always been taught that you need to lead by example. And hearing Harry and Meghan lecture everybody else on the do's and don'ts of what's good for the environment while they take private jets is infuriating. The article also mentions this, and the prince is expected to talk about his courtship of Markle when she was living in Toronto, Ontario to film Suits. And I just found this really funny because why would the reporter or the source or whatever know that Harry is going to talk about Meghan and how he met her, is expected to talk about it. Oh my, it's really funny. Also, shouldn't Prince be capitalized? I'm not sure. You all let me know. The article continues and says the trip comes just days after the couple launched their new Sussex.com website, which is operated by the Office of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex as a one-stop shop for all their activities. Sources confirmed to Page 6 that their children will now be known by the surname Sussex from now on to ensure the family is brought together, despite the fact that the children were given the birth name Mountbatten Windsor. And this is what caught my eye about all of this, because this article came out in February of 2024, and it immediately got me thinking of the Mindy Kaling episode of With Love Meghan. So I was curious to know when that was actually filmed. So before we get into that, let me show you a clip from With Love Meghan when Meghan does correct in quotation marks, Mindy Kaling on her last name.
I don't think anyone in the world knows that Meghan Markle has eaten Jack in the Box and loves it.
It's so funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle, you know I'm Sussex now. It's funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle, you know I'm Sussex now.
It's so passive-aggressive the way she says it, too, right? She doesn't make eye contact with Mindy. She just states it matter-of-fact and like a joke. My impression is she's trying to lighten the mood by laughing a little bit about saying it, but there is a hint of aggression I hear underneath that voice and the facial expression. So to dig deeper into the timing of these events, I found the following article, and it was published in January 2025. It says, Mindy Kaling spills on appearing on friend Meghan Markle's Netflix show. You know the food is going to be good. Let's pause. No, we don't. We don't know that the food is going to be good. And then it says, Kaling said at the 2025 Golden Globes, it was just nice to have someone else cooking for me after welcoming her third child. In the article, it mentions, I had my baby, and I think I was like 2 months postpartum, and she texted me and was like, do you want to be on my show, said Kaling, who welcomed her third child in 2024. And when you hang out with Meghan, you know how the food is going to be good. And so it's just nice to have someone else cooking for me. So then I wanted to look into when Mindy's third child was born. And I found this post from June of 2024, where Mindy lets us know that she gave birth in late February of 2024. So if she was about 2 months postpartum, that would make it towards the end of April 2024. I do want to say I am jumping a little bit to conclusions because Mindy says she was invited when she was 2 months postpartum. It doesn't mean that she joined and recorded when she was 2 months postpartum. So I wanted to just show that this narrative was already out there of this Sussex being their last name since 2024. I had not heard about this until this correction on With Love Meghan happened. So I was a little bit surprised to see that this name was in the works a year before With Love Meghan was officially released on Netflix. And it turns out that at the time that there were people that were upset about the new Sussex.com website. This next article is from the New York Post, and it's titled, Meghan Markle says she's a fan of the new Sussex.com website despite backlash. And it says, but their new rebrand seemingly struck a nerve among the public who noticed that they used their royal titles despite quitting the firm in 2020. There is a reason I have worked with Ryan and the talented team at Article for a decade. Their attention to detail, their creativity and care, and the approach to design as well as to the user experience, Markle said in an endorsement on Article's website. So I felt that Meghan took advantage of this negative press in order to pitch or merch the Article services. And then look at what she says. They're not just designers, they are collaborators who elevate your ideas into visual identities. They're a very special company. Plus, they're Canadian, so I'm a fan. Really, Meghan, you're a fan? Because they're Canadian? You definitely prefer LA to Canada based on the gear that you wore during the World Series, but that's neither here nor there. And actually, I immediately thought of the following scene from the movie Office Space. I'm going to play it for you, but I took out the bad words. Here we go.
One of the exercises that you're supposed to figure out what you would want to do. If PC load letter.
PC load letter? What does that mean? Oh my gosh. Meghan cracks me up. I have such an inner dialogue when I read these articles about Meghan. And then the article ends with the following. It says, Harry and Markle, also I love that they call her Markle and not Meghan or Meghan Markle. It says they were labeled ridiculous for using the royal coat of arms at the top of the homepage with text underneath that reads, the office of Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. However, others applauded them for making a fresh change to their online domain. I remember in 2024 that we were all pretty much laughing about this, the office of Prince Harry and Meghan. What office? Who works there? This is another example of them trying to present to the world how they want to be seen, even though it's just so far from reality. So I'm curious to know, what do you think about all of this? Please drop your thoughts in the comments. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. I would like to ask you, in lieu of super chats and super stickers, if you would please consider donating to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Their information is on the screen should you need to reach out to them, and a link to donate is in the description of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.